So welcome to Bealtaine Cottage. This is it here, and myself and Jack. And this is a little video all about using my new phone. And also I'm talking a little bit about the forest fires in particular. So enjoy. Well, it's very much another very hot day. Although it was cooler this morning. Today's Thursday. I got up really early and came out and did some gardening between about 5:30 this morning and about 7:30. So I managed to get a lot done. And most of the pot plants watered. I'm hoping and praying for rain over the next, day or two. The sooner the better, because things are drying up pretty quickly. But anyway, I managed to get the grassy paths mowed, and areas such as this here, which is the ceremonial fire pit. Just heard a noise through here. It didn't sound like a bird, it sounded like something bigger. Mind you, you see there's quite a lot of animals seeking shelter from the sun in the Woodland Gardens. The blackbirds, they're eating the black currants. So the roses have come out on the arch, which are rather lovely, and growing quite high. Look at that, over halfway up the arch now. And there's lots and lots of Buddleias come out in the gardens. In fact, there's some here in the Lunacy garden, but of course it's so thick at the moment. The growth is so thick and so tight that I don't really want to go and disturb anything, because all that beautiful growth is helping to keep the moisture in the ground. So I've just had my lunch. There's the empty bowl there on the table. A lovely big salad with lots of beetroot and some hummus and some falafels. Oh, it was gorgeous. I'm stuffed. So I'm going to see if I can get this video uploaded and out today. Well, I'm actually making this video on a camera phone, and it's a little bit experimental, so you'll have to bear with me for this one. It will take me some time to get used to this. One of the things that I do love is technology, and of course it's technology which has helped me tell the Bealtaine story, which has been my life's work over the past 17 years. So I was having huge problems with my previous phone, and just got overheated, and anyway, I used the situation I was in to advantage, in that I got this new phone, and it has a much better system for making videos and for taking photographs. It's got 3 cameras on it as opposed to 1, so it's really going to benefit the channel and ultimately, of course, give you a much better picture. And I'm going to be taking you now just down through the Woodland Gardens with this new appliance and we'll see the difference that it makes. I'm assuming that there's a stabiliser in this, so even though I'm kind of wobbling a bit as I walk, you know, going up and down, trying to hold on to this foam, which is a little bit bigger than my previous one, I'm hoping that the ultimate film will be stabilised and not full of shakes. I've got to show you this incredible Bealtaine which is falling out over the driveway. Of course it does this every year, and each year I cut it a little bit more and it goes a little bit higher, and whereas last year it was actually right down about another 3 or 4 feet, hanging right down in front of me, this year it's a little bit further up and much stronger, much more stable. But aren't those blooms just fabulous? Now I've also been mowing down along here today in the early hours of this morning. Well, early hours. It's about 6 o'clock. Fairly early, I suppose. But managed to get it done in the cool of the day. And also I got down along the road frontage done, which is fantastic. And then, of course, look at the fuchsia. The fuchsia is just out all over the place here today. Now I want to show you how the roadside garden is looking, because I think it's been a little while since I took you out there, and it's very lush. Everything that I've planted in there, most of which were little cuttings or plants that I grew from cuttings. Jack's just watching the cars. He's quite good, he won't go out without me. Yeah, plants that have grown from cuttings and seeds are doing beautifully. They're vigorous, they're strong. And you know, whilst I'm walking along showing you this, I've got to say a little bit about what's happened this week in the news. Now I know, of course, that there's been horrible results of extreme weather events, and a lot of people have suffered, a lot of people have lost their lives. But I've really, what kind of caught me and angered me a lot, made me very cross really, was those two absolute Egypts, Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, almost competing with each other to see who's got the biggest, oh no, it wasn't the biggest, to see who could get into outer space first. The only regretful thing is that they didn't stay there. But all that money, all those resources, for what? To go so high up and onto the very edge of space that you could look back upon a burning earth. Oh dear. What a waste of money. What an absolute waste of money and resources. It was upsetting, actually, for me to see that. And then, of course, I just got angry. And when I get angry, I can't reason with myself, so I just had to switch off from the whole event, you know, and just pay little or no heed to it. But these fuchsia. What can you do? Keep planting. Keep planting. Keep nurturing. I think nurturing is the key word now. We have to really nurture this beautiful earth that's struggling so hard. So hard. To keep us. And we don't really seem to have a care about it. But keep nurturing, keep planting, keep nurturing. Look at this beautiful Bealtaine here. Isn't that fabulous? And this is the really sticky little one, you know, it's just kind of a little bundle of sticks for most of the year. And then these beautiful blooms come out. So I'm expecting to see the butterflies out in the next few days. Let me take you into the Woodland Gardens. Now, I was doing a little Facebook Live this morning, as I do most mornings, on the Facebook page Bealtaine Cottage Goddess Gardens, Goddess Woodland Gardens. And it just struck me that, you know, because I have been watching the news unfolding with all the disasters happening across the earth. And it just struck me as I was watching the terrible forest fires out in the west coast of America that most of the trees I could see, the outline of them anyway, were pine trees. And I've got to say, pine trees are grown here in Ireland, but only for forestry. And I'll explain what I mean by forestry. Forestry is where you plant trees and grow them for cutting, for harvesting, for extraction purposes, for money. You don't really give two hoots about Mother Earth or forests or anything like that. They're just planted for money, you know. I call it pimping Mother Earth. Yeah. I'm not going to mince my words. It's pimping Mother Earth, and all those people who do it are pimps, and they'll just keep going until there's nothing left to pimp. But it did strike me that a lot of these trees were pine trees, and so I was talking a little bit about it on the Facebook Live, and a couple of people left comments, and they messaged me as well to say that the trees that are felled, because virtually all the old mother trees are felled now, they would have been hardwood trees, so oaks and, you know, trees like that, and that they are replaced with the fast-growing pine trees. Now I'm going to show you a little row of pine trees that I have here, and I'm going to show you the ground underneath the pine trees. And what I reason is why these fires are so absolutely horrendous. If you look underneath these trees, which are all deciduous trees, okay, first of all, the leaves up there are shading, and they're keeping the ground shaded and cool. And although there's dead leaves here, which could burn, it would be very hard to get them to burn into such a heated fire that everything would just erupt in flames. Okay, now let me show you the pine trees and the ground underneath them. My little stream, look, continuing to flow. Isn't that a little miracle during this drought? Okay, but let me take you through to where these pine trees are. Many of you will be familiar with them. They're planted in a row, just on the edge of my land. Okay, so these are the pine trees. These are Scots pine. Now there's a little bit of greenery coming through, but if you look now, let's just, okay, look at this. These are pine needles. Now these are pine needles which many people use, or used to use in the old days, you know, for starting a fire in the grate. They're infused with oil, and as the day grows hotter, the oil becomes more and more concentrated. Now these are quite dead ones, but they still have oil in them. They burn very hard and fast, and the ground underneath these pine trees, and there's only a few of them, There's five in total, that's all. But the ground is much more dry, much more dry. You can see underneath, look. And these are highly flammable. Now, and you can see as well how dry the trees are themselves underneath. And also, if you bruise the tree, and I'm not going to do that, but I can assure you, if you were to cut into any of this or to damage the tree, there'd be a lot of very thick resin would come out, which smells beautifully. It smells of pine. It's a beautiful thing, and of course it's what amber is formed from, all right? So it's a very powerful resin, but that's highly flammable too, because it's like a very thick oil, like a concentrated oil. So I'm trying to understand why these fires are so out of control. Now, of course, there's going to be lots of people who will leave comments. Oh, it's because California doesn't spend the money on blah, blah, blah. But I'm not talking about man. I'm not talking about politics or anything like that. I'm talking about the fact that all these trees seem to be of one species. You see, this here's a willow. Now, the ground underneath this willow is actually quite different, because when you look at this isn't highly flammable stuff, you see. It's just little bits of dead leaves. So I'm wondering if what I've observed here from these pine trees bears any kind of witness to what's happening in the west of America with the intensity of the fires. And I'll say one other thing. Here in Ireland, we have had forest fires over the years, but they've all been on those Sitka spruce pine plantations, what's called forestry, which of course it is not. It's simply, I don't know, what would you call it? A tree brothel? I don't know. Sometimes words come in and out of my head, but I do know this much, that the people who plant those aberrations are just pimping Mother Earth. Anyway, let me have your thoughts. Like I said, I don't want thoughts on politics. I don't want to go there with any of this. Just the actual reasoning that I'm putting out there now. The reasoning to do with the type of tree. Is this tree being planted widely? This kind of tree, is it being planted widely? Is it logged? Are there companies that so-called manage these forests? Because if the forests are managed by a company, then it is for profit. It's not for the benefit of the earth. And the one does not go with the other. I planted all these trees here, over 1,100 of them, not for profit or gain of any kind, but for the love of Mother Earth and for the benefit of the generations to come. So just coming up to the little spring well here in the fairy wood. And there you can see the beautiful darkness, mysterious little spring well. And the movement on the water, just a little bit of bubbling as water comes up from deep within the earth. Now again, usually when I make a video, I do it on my camera. I upload all the various shots to my laptop. I then put them into iMovie. I then do a little bit of editing, usually not much. If it's a raw video, it's just one upload. And then I proceed to try to post it up on YouTube, which can take an awful long time. So it'll be interesting to see if this way of making a video is actually faster. I know this one is going to be a little bit longer than usual. I'm just coming up now out of the fairy wood. But I've just tried to squeeze in information for you regarding what it is I'm doing, and also that little chat about the forest burning. That's a very interesting topic. Found a little bit of glass there, put it just down the tray. So, just come out into the open. There's the fairy wood down there. So I'm going to say blessings to you all. And if this is successful, I may be in the running to do a lot more videos, because recently it's been about one per week, and I used to do videos sometimes every other day. So we'll see where this brings us. So from myself and Jack, blessings to you all.